Hey everybody, Ryan Stackable here from Adplorer. Want to go over a maybe little known, maybe well known, hard to say, topic here in a Google Ads account. We're going to be going over something called cross-account conversions. And this is something that's super helpful if you are a multi-location brand like a franchise and you have a lot of accounts that you're trying to keep track of, say for your franchisees. And a question slash problem that we see quite often is sometimes conversions don't quite add up between accounts, or conversions might be defined slightly differently between accounts. Maybe you've got multiple agencies that are working with your franchisees, or maybe franchisees have set up some of their own individual conversion pixels or tracking codes, and it can become quite a mess. So what we're going to go over here with cross-account conversion tracking, this is something that will help clean up a lot of that mess. And it will also be something that will help standardize and structure your brand of how do you track conversions? How do you track your events at scale? So let's go ahead and get started here. We have a little example that we're going to look at here with a Google Ads account. We're in a MCC here for a franchise brand. Now, if you need to learn more and read more about cross-account conversion tracking, there are Google articles about this, but we're just going to dive in here and we're going to get into the details of how to set this up, where to actually navigate in the account, because it is a little bit hidden and it's a little confusing. So let's go ahead and dive in. First things first, if you have not already set up a Google Analytics conversion connection here, this is going to be something that's going to be your source of what are the events, what are the conversions that you want to track. There are other ways to set up conversion tracking, but we're going to be talking about Google Analytics 4 here. Now, with the implementation of Google Analytics, sometimes we'll see brands that will use multiple Google Analytics accounts, or each franchisee has an account. That's all fine and dandy if you want to do that, but we would definitely recommend you have at least one account that sees all traffic across all of the franchise locations or all the store locations. And assuming you have that set up here, we're also going to make an assumption here that you have your conversion tracking or your event tracking already set up in Analytics. If you don't have these things already set up, not a problem. It's, there's a lot of resources online of how to configure that, but we're just going to make the assumption that everybody within the franchise brand, all locations, all pages, everything is tracked in one single Google Analytics account, and then conversion tracking and event tracking is set up within this account as well. Now, getting into the Google Ads dashboard here, we want to make sure that we link up the Google Analytics account to the MCC. And what we're going to make sure we're doing here is under Tools and Settings, under the Data Manager, you want to come in here, and if you haven't already, connect a product, connect your Google Analytics in here. And what that'll do is that'll start pulling in the data for not only conversion tracking, but also sessions and bounce rates and some other things that can then later be used for building audiences, building segments, things like that within your MCC. So once you've connected the Google Analytics account here, you can see here that we're still at the MCC level. I'll go back to the conversion settings here. You can see that we have a couple of different conversion types. You can see the source is Google Analytics GA4. Each of these conversion types here, these are things that you can modify, you can edit, say, if you've got a couple different ways you track form submissions or phone calls or chats or messages through the website, whatever you want to define as a conversion action, you can do that through the setup process here. Now, once you have the conversions set up the MCC, it doesn't necessarily mean that magically now everything is going to start counting conversions on the individual accounts, there's still another step that we need to go and do. So let me go back here to our top level MCC. And what you're going to want to do here is you're going to want to go down to settings. And then you're going to want to go to sub-account settings. And then this is the section here where we actually want to define, do we want to use conversion tracking at the MCC level, or do you want to use conversion tracking at the individual account level? You'll see that here under this Google Ads conversion account column here with a little definition about cross-account conversion tracking. So as you can see here, there's quite a few locations and accounts for this franchise. And when we look at the drop-down menu here, we can choose between, do we want to have Google Ads conversions coming from this manager, which means the MCC, or do we want to have it come from the client? And that's going to be the individual account. The standard setup, and in a lot of ways that people will have this configured when we onboard them into the Adplorer platform, a lot of times is that each account for each franchisee will have client level conversion tracking. Again, that's fine. It's you can still count everything correctly. The challenge though is that let's say for this account here, let's say you've got a individual tracking script for this one account. Let's say that script gets taken off the page and no longer is counting correctly. And now you've lost conversion tracking on that account, and it's maybe hard to find that problem because you have tons of accounts you're trying to manage or keep up with. Other challenges might be, like I said towards the beginning, you might have this account here. Let's say they track contact form submissions and click to calls on the website. Let's say click to call is a conversion action that they're counting. And this account down here, the one right below it, let's assume that they're also on just this client conversion tracking here. Let's say they're counting contact form submissions, but they're not counting click to calls as a conversion. Now you have a discrepancy between account A and account B of who's correct and who is got a better cost per conversion or cost per lead. It gets very tricky to start analyzing the different accounts, and you start having sort of an apples and oranges comparison problem here. This happens a ton when you have sort of no structure, or you have a lot of agencies that are working with the franchise locations, and every agency wants to define their own conversion tracking setup. And, you know, we love agencies. We work with agencies all the time. But they can make this very messy. So what we would recommend here is that, first off, with your MCC, the franchisor in this example, they have one MCC that all the accounts for all the franchise locations live under. And then you set everything in this column to this manager, and you set things up in this structure that we're talking about here with MCC level conversion tracking. And that is going to really just make sure that everybody's all tracking the same. There's no discrepancy of, hey, if account A loses its script on the page, then they're not going to be lost in the shuffle here. You'll be able to see everything clearly in a top-down way. Know that everybody's comparing apples to apples. Now, the other benefit here is right next to it, you've got the audience manager account. This is another similar advantage to where if you link up, say, Google Analytics to be your source of conversion tracking, you can now start to share insights and share audiences between the accounts. And then as more and more data starts building up, you get to a point where you might start seeing a situation where, let's say, you've got two franchise locations or two store locations that are nearby each other. A click might happen in location A, but then the conversion might happen in location B. So who gets the credit? That is always a semi-complicated question to answer, and everybody answers that question a little bit differently. But because you're sharing the visibility across all the accounts, you can see that a lot more clearly. And you'll actually see sometimes you might have like 0.25 of a conversion because maybe your Facebook ads generated part of the attribution, and then your Google ads got the last touch for that campaign. And you can see those journeys much more clearly in GA4. And then because everybody's all in this same structure, now you can start aggregating that data and really see the big picture. So that is a overview here of MCC level conversions. If you have more questions, feel free to reach out to us here at Adplorer. We hope that was just a quick overview, brief overview, but an informative one. And we hope to see you guys out in the marketing world.